Hi everybody, it's good to be back. It's a long time ago that I sent out a video. I think the last one was at the Gaza Strip when the hostages get freed in October. This was quite a journey. But today I want to let you know my third book is out. Trust me. It is a project over 2.5 years. And the last months were very intense to get everything done. But now, here it is. So you can order it via Amazon worldwide. So as Kindle, paperback, or also as hard copy. Yes, this book took me around the half world. It started in Damascus in Syria, and it ended at the Gaza Strip in Israel. So, and in between, there were a lot of traveling and a lot of stories to tell. The theme of the book is narcissism. And this, I just spoke with somebody in the church this morning about how fast the narcissistic things are growing on earth and what the hatred of the world is doing. And we as society, we are creating these kind of people. So it is a kind of generational thing. There is a lot of to tell about narcissism. You can read it in the book. But the only cure for narcissism is what I'm always telling is love. So this is what Jesus was doing. He was loving on people. Anyway, this story it's beginning as a love story. So Esther McMurray is falling in love with a Canadian guy, Michael Stephen. And it ended up in a very, very toxic relationship. And it's a very heartbreaking story. It's a painful story. But it's also a story of hope and trusting in God. Whoever was together with a narcissist knows that is somehow the narcissist is telling you, trust me. So, and what you are doing, are you trusting the person or you are trusting God? So, and this is the whole journey in this book, to trust more in God and not in people. And it is not really a finger-pointing story to the narcissist. Yes, of course, you are reading through it and you see all the pattern. And it's also a guidebook to get out of toxic relationships and to stay out of it and to know all about it, to see what these kind of people, toxic people, are doing, and how they are playing with your mind and all kind of stuff. But this story is not only that, it is also a story of finding ourselves. It's a story of what is our identity and what is our calling and who we are, and this is so much more. And I already received, the book is not really public out yet, but I already received a review out of that story, out of that book, and I really felt blessed by that. This book felt like recognition. First came acceptance, finally understanding I wasn't imagining things or losing my mind, then grief for what would never be, and then unexpectedly freedom. Esther is every woman who has survived the quiet devastation of a narcissistic relationship and the one who found the courage to leave. Honest, restrained, and deeply validating. If there's one book that belongs at the top of the 2026 reading list, it's this one. I was amazed by this review. And for me, writing this book was helping people to be a voice for these people. They have lost their voice in a toxic relationship. And I always wanted to be a voice for these kind of people. And it's a long time ago. It was in 2008 that God gave me a vision, and I was somehow in hell. So I was standing with Jesus on a mountain, and he pointed out the darkness, and then he grabbed my hand and we went into the darkness. And it was for me hell at that point. I didn't know what it was, but it was terrible. The people were screaming. They were full of chains and full of darkness and pain and crying and screaming, and it was terrible. And then one of those people, they came crawling onto me, towards to me and grabbing my feet and screaming at me, "Help me, help me, help me." And I was so surprised, and so it was really real in that moment. And I said to Jesus, "You need to help them because I can't, you know?" So, and then Jesus looked directly into my eyes and said to me, "I need somebody I can send to. Are you willing to pay the price so that I can send you into the darkest basement on earth?" And I was so surprised, and I know this is so serious. And I said to Jesus, "Please, can I have 24 hours to think?" I mean, so finally the next day I said yes. And I remember there was a pastor from America at our church. It was in Germany. And he prayed for me. He asked, "Is somebody here who want to get the life really sorted out for God?" So, and I went forward. We were only 4 people. I mean, the church was packed, but 4 people came forward, and he prayed for me. And I had again the same vision, but in this vision, Jesus was standing with me at the mountaintop, and he was pointing again to this darkness. But in a second, millions and millions of angels came and overtook that darkness. And everything was fully brighting light. It was just amazing. So, and this was in 2008. In 2009, I had another vision, and I heard audible his voice, and he was calling me to go to Israel, to Jerusalem. And in 2010, he pulled me out of the normal work. And in 2011, I went. I gave everything away. I went into the world, and I started trusting God in everything I did. So this was the start of living the Gospel of Acts. And he was training me for 14 years, you know, training me. And last year I finished my training. And I can't tell you how much I learned the last 14, 15 years on the road with Jesus. So I have now 2 luggage, not only one. I have a summer and a winter one, so it depends where I am. And he showed me so much, and I saw so many miracles, and he's really a miracle working God. And he's using everything, and all the little small details he is doing coming together like a big puzzle piece. And I can tell stories after stories, but I really only wanted to come today and saying my book is now out. It is available. It is an amazing journey of heartbreaking, painful stories, what ended in finding the true calling and finding ourselves. And also through that period of time, the last 2.5 years, a ministry is born. It's called Unbound Within. I will include it in a description below. And it's all about giving the people who are in toxic relationship or growing up with narcissistic parent or have a sexual trauma or cultural difficulties, finding the voice back, you know? So because we have so many bad things happening to us, and we are losing our identity, our voice, our calling. And through this ministry, I'm helping people to find their voice back and the true identity and the calling. So it's all about going into that dark basement, what God called me in 2008, if he can send me. And I said yes. And it's funny, this morning when I was at church, I was a missionary from Wycliffe. And he was also asking the question, are you willing to go for Jesus? And I always said yes to Jesus, always. Sometimes it took 24 hours, yes, to say yes. But I always went, I always grabbed his hand and said, I will trust you again. And I can tell you, I had so many struggles during the last 15 years, almost 15 years on the road. And I was so often at the floor and screaming and painful and didn't know what was going on. So, but Jesus was always showing up, giving me his hand and asking me, are you willing to trust me again? Are you willing to step on the water again with me? And I always did. Sometimes it took some time, of course, because I had to overcome some struggles, some questions, some difficulties, of course. So that's life. And but every little step, every little journey was toward his heart. So, and today I really can say that I'm trusting God completely. So during my last 15 years, I faced death, I faced abuse, I faced, I don't know, terrible things. So, but I know that I know where I'm going when I'm not longer on earth, you know. So I had once or twice an experience, an encounter with Jesus and with the Trinity of God. So I know where I'm coming from and I know where I'm going to. And in between, I'm participating in his work. So, and this is amazing for me, because when it is 25 years ago that I gave my life to Jesus, because he showed up when I wanted to kill myself. So, and he transformed my life completely. So you can read my whole life story in my second book I wrote. It is called Unbreakable Spirit. So, but now my third book is about narcissism and finding the true identity and the calling and the trust in God. This was always my biggest theme. I want to trust you with everything I am. So, and I'm doing that. So, and God is using this. And yes, I really want to encourage you to buy this book and read this book. And please send the video out if anybody is needing help coming out of toxic relationships, especially narcissism or psychopathic relationships. I'm willing to go with them into the basement and pull them out. Because, you know, narcissists, psychopaths, sociopath, and empath and codependent people, they are sitting in the same basement. When you hit rock bottom, you're facing guilt. So, and when you're standing up, because the guilt is fading away, because you're meeting Jesus. So, most of the time you don't recognize there's a basement. And in that basement, there's the darkness called shame. And we have all our shame stories, everybody. So, and also cultures and countries and governments, they have all their shame stories. So, but hiding this shame it is like cancer. It's destroying your life. So, and I mean, I'm coming out of Germany, and I know the inheritance and what was it to grow up in that country, what has this history of killing so many Jews and Gypsies and people. And there was always a mantle of shame over that country, you know. Don't speak about it, you know, get over it. So, but this is not good. This is absolutely not good. And I know in my family were so many secrets, and it was growing like cancer, and everybody got destroyed. And this is what we are seeing at this world at the moment. All the hatred, the basements of hatred and narcissism and anti-Semitism, and it is growing and growing and growing because nobody is willing to let light on it, you know. And in my studies about narcissism and psychopathic and all this toxic relationship, I think 99% of all the experts, they are telling there's no hope for narcissists. I don't know. That belongs to God, right? So, and I know that God is doing miracles also in that area. I'm completely convinced about that. So, but I also know it takes a lot of courage to face your shame. It is difficult for a narcissist. He's almost not able to face the shame. But the victims, they can face their own shame, and they are totally able to get out of the basements. It takes courage, yes, of course. It takes willingness to get broken by God, yes. And it takes a lot of effort to went up the steps. But then, when you are out of this basement of shame, you are standing at the field of freedom, surrounded by light and not by darkness any longer. So, and this is all about the book. You know, this is the story of coming out of the darkness of shame onto the field of freedom. And this was God was telling me again and again and again my whole life, that He is pulling out the people out of the mouth of the evil and putting them on the field of freedom. And He's doing this. But yes, you need to participate in that journey. This is for sure. Is it worth it? Oh yes, it is. And even so, you only would live one day free. But this will be the glorious day of your life. So, and yeah. The book is now out, and I will see. You can write me. Some people already know how. The other one, the ministry is in the book, so you can reach me and ask questions. I will have a little break. It was a tough time the last 2.5 years. So I will have a little winter sleep now here in frozen Canada. But you can reach me, and we can speak about it. Okay. I bless you all with the truth and with the light of Jesus and with the hope that you can live on the field of freedom. Okay. Bless you all. Bye.